Hey, this is Lance from BestKidSolutions.com, and I'm prompted to make this video because we hear a lot about people talking about and teachers talking about what to teach during these days off from school. And I think that's what's even more important is how are you teaching it. Guys, the way it works is that the precedent that you set right now in the beginning with your child will set the tone for the rest of the time. If you're too aggressive or if you've set too many goals at once, you might intimidate the child and your child, and you might set off a tone that may not work well in the future. So what I want to talk about here is some steps that are really going to make a big difference when you're starting out as a parent teacher. Now, as you know, many of us in different parts of the states have already started this, but us here in Tampa, we actually are on spring break and we're now just starting our little parent-teacher experiment here. And I'm hoping that these tips and tricks will give you a lot better implementation of a schedule and allow your child to enjoy this particular situation rather than loathe it. So a couple things is, number one, it's okay you're not a teacher. As a parent, you have skill sets that are amazing, but they may not be in the teacher realm, and that's okay. But the good news is that you are your child's first teacher. You've been their teacher from the beginning, so you got this. Be confident. What's even better is that you know their intricacies. You know their little things that they need, and you can use that to your advantage. So use that and make sure and give yourself a break. I know that everybody is trying to do double duty. You're trying to pay the bills and do your work along with making sure that your child still has an education, and that is not easy. Give yourself a break. Give yourself some leeway. Believe me, it's not easy. As a teacher, we definitely understand your pain 100%. Also, one of the biggest things is to try to use the different types of techniques and the traits of an excellent teacher. An excellent teacher is by far, number one, they're positive. They're flexible and they're patient. You got to use these. You got to make these your number one tier things. You really do have to make sure that you are patient. Your child is doing a different transition. Just in general, changing transitions, changing the schedule, changing anything with the child is going to create some havoc. That's just the way children work. So there's going to be times where they're not going to understand. They're going to test your boundaries because that's what children do. Children test boundaries. And so they're going to test you, and you have to have a patient but firm plan involved, and we'll talk about that soon. It's also super important to be flexible. Things are going to change. You're going to need to change things, whether it be with your work schedule or with their education schedule. It's going to be super important that you are flexible so that this will turn out once again to be a positive experience, because we want this. It might be for a while. We don't know how long this is going to last. And so you want to start this off with a positive and definitely a successful mentality. Now, what I want to talk about now is the steps that are really going to make and ensure that this goes well for you as a parent/teacher. Now, number one is, of course, as I mentioned, you have to go slow. Go slow. Don't, make this huge schedule and overwhelm the child. I think that's very important. Now, don't get me wrong. I think it's super important that you have a schedule. I think it's super important that you put in a rigorous enough schedule for your child, and that'll depend on the child. But it's better to start off a little slow, a little bit easier, build up the positiveness, and then add on to it later. And that goes into number two. Number two is use as much positivity and positive reinforcement as you can. Make these beginning lessons that you're having right now like they've just won a trip to Disneyland. Make this exciting, make this happy, encourage them, and really show them that you are appreciating what they're doing. And something that just came to my mind is that, and I didn't add it to the list, but I want to add it now, a little teachable moment, as they say, is that the number one success of a child in school is the priority that the parent puts on education. When they see you making this a priority, when they see how important it is to the parent, the child reacts along with the parent. So that is one of the reasons why this is so important, and why getting this right the first time is going to be so crucial for you and your child. Now, of course, as I mentioned before, make the schedule simple. Make it as rigorous as you can. Maybe take it back a couple notches, and just start slow, as I mentioned before. Make it simple, and definitely make sure that you can add on to it as they feel more comfortable. And of course, don't forget to provide frequent breaks. Give your time to reevaluate. See if this schedule is working for you. And of course, don't forget that give them schedule some outdoor play, schedule some arts and crafts. Obviously, schedule them a snack or two. I highly recommend stopping the activities or the instruction as a reward break. Give them miniature rewards throughout the day, so that they see that there's something positive at the end of this, even if it's every 30 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour, whatever is best for your child. Put those in for your children, especially in the beginning, so that they see this as something positive and not something that is made for them to do. Now, obviously, it's going to be easier or harder depending upon the child, and you will only know. But I highly recommend that if you add those little things, make it simple, make it positive, this will be a tremendous experience, because I think in these hardships, I think what's going to happen is that we are going to reprioritize to family, and you're going to see this as a blessing rather than a curse down the road. But it all starts with you taking these steps, and to make sure that this goes well in the beginning, because the tone that's set now is what's going to continue throughout this time of school closing. I just want to remind everybody, I really want to remind that you guys are their first parents, or excuse me, they're their first teachers. You are, as the parent, are their first teachers. You've been doing this from day one. I know a lot of people are having anxiety. They're not quite sure how they're going to handle this, and especially when you're dealing with socioeconomics, it's not easy. But I want to let you know that you can do this if you stay positive, you stay motivated, you get them a good schedule, and at the very, very minimum, you just stay patient with them. I think this is going to be an absolutely amazing time, the best you can at the very least. So my friends, I hope that you guys can use this information. Feel free to subscribe to this channel. Feel free to give it likes, whatever, and try to share this as much as possible. I really think that this is something that needs to be spread everywhere, because it's not about what you're teaching right now, it's how you're teaching. But if it starts off bad, we're not going to get any rigorous information from our child. We're not going to get the performance that we want from our children in this time of hardship. Start slow, be positive, share this as much as you can, get the word out. It's not about what you're doing, it's how you're doing it at this moment, and then you can get into the intricacies later on. My friends, I hope everybody's being safe. I wish you and your family the absolute best. And please leave any comments below. If you have something to add, please put it in the comments below. Please let me know. Go ahead and go to bestkidsolutions.com. Leave comments there. I have obviously Facebook and of course Instagram, and we'll be pasting this or putting this on YouTube shortly, and hopefully everything goes well. Thank you guys so very much, and like I said, I hope everybody stays safe and be positive.